Hello again, everyone. This is Randy, your sewing machine man. What we're looking at is a Singer, and it's a Stylist model 538. And this setup we're talking about is this Apollo bobbin case that sits down for a drop-in setup instead of the front load, or a side load, which would be from this side. This is a top drop-in. Now these little black plastic Apollo bobbins, they break if you pry on them. They break if you try to do anything with a screwdriver in here that really shouldn't be done. But generally, they're pretty stout little bobbin cases, and they're still present in machines that you'll buy today. You can go out today and buy a machine that has one just like it in there. Now, most of them have usually a little gate that opens up here to get them out, up in about the 11 o'clock position. Sometimes you'll put a little screwdriver in this little, it's a little slot there sometimes. This one doesn't have one, but quite often there's a little slot. Put a screwdriver and turn it to the left. Or sometimes you just use your thumb. Just push it to the left and it lifts right out. And that's called the Apollo, like a little kidney bean shape. And of course this goes right around this right here, just a little raised up. This has an adjustment here, and adjustment here. If these are not disturbed, chances are your problem does not lie in these three adjustments. I get these all the time where they've been adjusted because people don't know that they can swing this open and close, so they just grab a screwdriver and start taking this apart, and that compromises your thread gap for this, lets a thread slide by. Now what this does is, with this gate open, it just lays in very easily, and there's a little lip that goes around that circular hook. It lays up on that lip, and then you just close the gate. Sometimes you can close it with your fingernail, whatever, and it just sits on top of it there. It just hovers in there, and it has to move left, right, left, right, left, right. Every stitch it goes to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left. Every single stitch it moves twice, so it has to move back and forth. That seems counterintuitive. A lot of people think, well, there's a problem, so we're going to crank this down. This thing shouldn't be moving. Of course, that exacerbates the problem. The reason this machine came in is because this bobbin was being used instead of, I'll find it here in the camera, instead of this bobbin. This is the correct bobbin, a 66 class. This is the incorrect bobbin. It's a 15 class. Boy, they look similar, both plastic if you don't read the package. One, that's for a Singer, wrong kind of Singer. That's for the Singer, this Singer. But see, the difference is this one will actually fit inside this one. The one on the left, the correct one, is smaller. So this one was in the bobbin case because the customer just inadvertently put it in there by mistake without being careful, and the thread, instead of sliding over the top of it like it will with the correct bobbin, it'll catch. And of course it caught so much that it locked up and broke the gears in the machine, because these come with the composite gears. They can be replaced to nylon, which I do all the time because they're good little machines and they're well worth. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 composite gears. If the timing belt's in good shape, you can do that, and this machine will have years of life. It has a good motor, and it's a good platform. It's a alloy metal. It's very well made. It's a good machine from the 70s. Now, all the way through, as they made more and more and more of these, I got more and more plastic on them. And sometimes you can see this exact same machine. It'll say BICOR, which is Brother International Corporation. This machine's been around for a long, long time, and they've changed it up. Of course, every time something gets newer, they change it, and it usually lightens something, makes something a little bit less robust and a little less expensive. So when you put this bobbin in, make sure you have the right one. You can see that it drops in just like the other one, but it sits below the level, so the thread runs across the top of this. Every stitch runs across the top. Of course, if you can't run across the top, it'll hang up like it did on the other one, and it'll break something. This time it broke the gears, so put this back in here, and sometimes it just jumps right in there for you, and sometimes not. And you close the gate on it, and it has to move left, right, left, right. So don't disturb this screw unless somebody already has and it's locked down. You want to loosen this, and then just move this ever so slightly to the right, so the thread will slide by the silver, metal, and the black. It has to slide through there after it slides through down here. So it slides through there, here, and there, all the way around. So I'm doing this by request because a young lady asked me if I could tell her how to get that back in and get it set properly. And there's not a whole lot of movement here. It's got to have some movement, doesn't have to be a lot. And you can err on the side of having a little bit more movement than it needs, but not on less movement than it needs. You're going to want to have enough movement for the thread to get by. And of course the thread's going to be a all-purpose dual duty, which is 5/100ths of an inch. You don't want to have it real big for like nylon or something like that, because it'll jump out and it'll break. So keep that in mind when you're working on your Apollo bobbin case. And this is Randy, your sewing machine man, working in the sew mobile on site.